That's all I got.
Hello, and welcome to Walk in 90. It's a short one today. It's me, Ebony. Hi, nice to see everybody again. And we've got the wonderful newly married Kyle. How are you?
I am great. Yes. Newly married. Got the ring on. Bougie as hell. It's been great.
It's been a while since we've seen you on the pod. Welcome back.
Yeah. I was like, oh crap. Yeah, wedding planning really makes me realize, I should maybe focus on that, especially when you're having it in your own backyard.
Yeah. A quick pivot, but you did it, and I'm proud of you. Congrats.
Thank you.
But now we have something very, very important to talk about. And if you thought I was going to say the World Cup, you're wrong.
Absolutely not.
Okay. We don't believe in the World Cup over here in USL. Okay. You're going to get your Prinks Cup and you're going to like it. Okay.
Look, you're going to get vibes, chaos, the Prinks Cup. World Cup does not matter. You want to watch the World Cup? Great. I'm sure your team will have a watch party after the match.
Is your league going on a bus activation across the country? No, didn't think so. We don't do that here. Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Welcome to League One. Okay. So let's get it. Let's get all the maintenance stuff out of the way. You can follow us on Twitch, Walk in 90, IG, Walk in 90, Blue Sky, Walk in 90 Pod. Make sure you are going to games, as the great Tall Dre once said to us at one point. It was a long way because he's so tall, but it's okay. You got to get your shots in on every podcast you can. Okay.
True. Especially after his diabolical question.
Yeah. We are also on a podcast called DRSFC. If you haven't listened to that, please go do so, because we're F1 nerds. We're soccer nerds, and it's an F1 podcast. So let's hop in. We're going to do some news around the league. There's not a lot, because not a lot's happened in this league, to be fair. A lot of games. The Prinks Cup has taken priority over the last couple of weeks. So a lot of teams are out of it already. Some are still holding strong, and that's what we'll talk about in a second. And then we'll go to a hot seat update, because there has been some movement. Yes, there has been movement. And
not for the better. Not for the better.
Not for the better. No. Not for the better. And we're going to update the tiers. So, and then we're going to go into, our game of the month, our vibes team of the month, and our chaos team of the month. So let's start with the Prinks Cup, since that's been very prominent with the league. Let's go with the fact that Spokane and Omaha are still in the hunt for the playoffs. I'm not surprised.
It's not surprising, given the two teams. Like, Omaha is Omaha, so it's not a shocker that they are still in it. Spokane, also not super surprising, because it seems like Spokane plays to the level of their opposition, which is both a compliment and derogatory. So it's not a surprise. They've also I feel like they've had a little bit of an easier set. They had Vegas, who's not doing well. They got Boise, which was a big win for them. Their only loss was the Sacramento Republic, who's top of their group. So it's like, all right, no shame in that. And Omaha, their group it's a tough group, but they got the win against Indy 11. They lost to Louisville City, who are top of their group. No shame in that either. And they got the other win against Fort Wayne. So they're winning the games that they're supposed to. Which I cannot say for Ford Madison, although it is unfortunate that they've gotten all championship teams. But yeah, it seems like those two are likely. Charlotte has a chance.
They do
as well.
Which again is not shocking, because they have actually been playing really, really well.
They've been a surprise team, which I feel like we keep saying every year. Like, we're always surprised that Charlotte's doing as well as they do, but then they always fall apart at some point. So it's kind of like it's a matter of when, not if.
That's the big thing. Is literally every single time we are like, oh, why are they being so quiet about this? You go, oh, well, they still have not been tested, which I'll talk about because I have them in a list later on in the show. But I'm the rest of the League One teams that are playing in the Brinks Cup, it's done for them. So we're not even going to touch on that.
Not gonna bother.
Yeah, there's no point. But between those two teams, Charlotte and Omaha, which one do you actually see probably taking the group?
Taking the group, I'd say Charlotte, just because I think it's more likely they can catch Charleston as opposed to Omaha, who, I mean, Louisville's only played 2 games and they've scored 3 goals in each. They won the first one 5-1 against Omaha and won the other one 3-1. So they're kind of kicking everyone's ass. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it's stopping. And that's not a knock against Omaha, but I would say it's more likely Charlotte could potentially catch Charleston as opposed to Omaha, because Omaha's already played 3 matches. Louisville's only played 2, while in Charlotte's group, Charlotte's only played 2, and they're only 3 points behind Charleston, who have played 3 matches.
And do you, because I think it's a couple second place teams come out as well?
Yes, I think it's going to be, I'm trying to remember, because it's the group winners, and then I think there's like a couple, like 2 or 3 wild cards, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's like 2, because it's otherwise it's not balanced.
Yeah.
So that's also
because like Tampa Bay's already clinched a spot in the next one.
Yep.
But they haven't won their group yet,
which is weird. Because that's the magic of the cup. let's leave it there.
Okay, sorry. So there's 7 group winners and 1 wild card.
Oh.
And the wild card will be whoever the second place team with the most points in group play.
So it's still.
So right now, trying to think. I'm trying to pull up the standings on my computer slow, but that would put. I mean, Omaha has a chance. Charlotte would still have a chance. Spokane would have a chance because they would still right now. Yeah, Spokane's got 6. New Mexico and El Paso have 6. Omaha has 6. Brooklyn has 6. And Charlotte has 5, but they've only played 2 matches. And then Miami FC has 6. So they're, depending on how these last few games go, they could, if Omaha and Charlotte could win out, then I could see it being one of them, just because I do think Brooklyn and Rhode Island would still need to play each other. So that could potentially be a stumbling block. And then I believe El Paso and New Mexico still play each other.
Either way, I think I would love to see Omaha and Charlotte go through. And that hurts me to say. Just make sure everyone is still aware. That hurt me to say. But
you can be a hater and acknowledge a team's playing well.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing right now throughout this pod, because you're going to hear me say some very crazy things. And that's where it's going to come from. Just know that the hate is still there, but you got to recognize ball. So there we go. Sure. What else happened around the league? Greenville, they opened their stadium. I
didn't want to talk about that, but yeah.
Why not, Kyle? Why? What happened?
Well, they opened their stadium and got a 1-0 victory against Ford Madison.
Yeah. But there was so many people. It was like 4,400, if I remember reading correctly.
Oh, no. People showed out, which good for them. I'm happy for Greenville. Obviously, it's cool to see teams be able to build soccer-specific stadiums solely for them. We definitely need more of that in the league if this league wants to progress and USL wants to grow. But, I could have done without, Madison having to be the recipient of that loss.
I mean, it's better than the other one that we're going to talk about later, a part of the game of the week, as the recipient of the first win So, aka you gave them their first win. We'll talk about that later though. In just a few minutes, actually.
Yeah, that you can't really recover from that too much. Like that's one of those you go, ooh, you don't want to be that team, and someone became that team.
Someone did, and it's but you know what? It was for the best. I am loving Catherine on Blue Sky with the updates for this team and for this coach. So it's been fun. I am happy that it has a happy ending. And then let's talk expansion because 4 teams have been announced as expansion teams for League One. You have Florida FTL UTD, Florida United, Rodeo SC, Sporting Cascade, and St. Lucie, all coming to League One at some point. I think for Fort Lauderdale comes next year, correct?
I think Fort Lauderdale and Sporting Cascades are supposed to come next year, and it sounds like Rodeo might come. I don't know what's going on with Rodeo. Yeah. But Fort Lauderdale and Sporting Cascades seem like they're more likely to come next year.
Correct. And then there were some other championship teams that were announced as expansion.
Is still weird, but
yeah. So 4 new teams coming to the league. Already 17 teams on the docket. Does this align to help make it a little bit more balanced? I would say yes if it was an even amount of teams. But like since we would have been
the issue
even,
is we all think that.
I mean,
that's also assuming that all these teams actually start when they plan to.
Yes, but because there's also the problem of like we're still waiting for a team to actually determine if they're going to come back in time for 2027. South Georgia.
Yeah.
So they had high aspirations of coming back for, was it 2027 or 2028? I can't remember.
I think 2027.
I think it was 2027. If they're coming back, cool. But we don't even know if all the teams in League One right now are staying in League One or existing in 2027. Taking a look at the Super League and what happened in Spokane. So the instability of League One is concerning, but it's also but also the amount of teams that want to be in League One show like there's a weird balance, and you don't know how to really take it because you don't know if you should be celebrating that so many teams want to get into this league, or you are questioning why so many teams want to get into this league, because it's so easy to leave it if things don't go wrong, if things don't go right, or like that's my issue of League One's ability to join and not join.
Yeah.
Join and leave.
Well, and I was going to say Rodeo actually is coming in 2028, but there's a Thousand Oaks, California team that's supposedly coming. So there'll be a team out in Southern California along with Avialta, but it's like we don't fully know like what's going on with that.
Right. And that's not, I mean, is that a rumor? Because I don't even see that on the website.
No, that's on the USL Championship one. So they said 5 additional clubs in 2027 sanctioning application. So there's Atletico Dallas in the USL Championship. And then in League One, it's Sporting Cascades, Port St. Lucie, Fort Lauderdale, and then Thousand Oaks named TBD.
Okay.
So that would be the 4 teams. And then Rodeo would come back 2028. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know about Rodeo because it feels like that one, because Texoma's there, then they leave and they go down, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna have Rodeo, and they're supposed to come next year, and then they're like, actually no, we're gonna come 2028. It's like, what's the plan exactly?
What's the plan here? Like, Texas is clearly a hotbed, and then you're not even taking advantage of the World Cup bump, because don't know why. Every other league in this country has stopped, but you didn't. And what are you doing to take those fans that were in Texas, or who were maybe a Texoma fan, or trying. There are lower league fans that are just waiting for the moment to say F you to FIFA, to MLS, even to like Championship League One. And they're here for like the lower league grassroots, and you're missing a market there. And the fact that they're going to wait till 2028 when you already don't have someone playing in 2026 within that place is a problem.
Yeah.
Good question.
Who knows?
Sorry, I should read the question. Does Paul McDonough make a difference?
I don't think it makes that much.
Becoming more stable in League One. So I wanted to make sure I read the question out loud.
I'm going to go with no, just because I feel like right now we don't fully know, A, the details of how the Pro Rel is going to work, and B,
they still haven't released that.
League One is very unstable. Like, League One is just unstable. Like, yes, it's overall doing better, but it's still been every single year they've lost a team. Like, this year, it was Tormenta. Last year, it was Fuego and Noco. We've had Tucson. We've had Lansing. I know I'm missing a team.
You forgot Texoma.
I know there's one other team that I'm drawing a blank on. Texoma, yeah. So it's like we've always seen the league lose teams. And then there's teams that we were expecting to come, and then they don't. Brooklyn was supposed to be in there, and then they jumped up the championship. Santa Barbara was supposed to be in League One. They jump up the championship. So it's also that aspect of it as well, where there are teams that we expected to join the league, and then they don't. Or even like way back in the beginning, like Rochester and Penn. Like, we were expecting both of those to come, and then that never happened. So I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think he's going to make a difference. I think he can help, but until we figure out A, what the Pro Rel situation is, and B, the league can continue keeping the teams, whether by their choice or not, that's the more important thing.
I also don't like.
It's a good question though, but I'm going to lean towards no.
Yeah, very good question. I'm going to also hate on the fact that it's even allowed. You're even allowed to do that. Like, say you're going to join one, and then say, never mind, I'm going to join the other, and it's like working against itself. So I don't know how Pro Rel fixes that, to be fair. And you're right, we haven't even seen the structure of how they're going to even start Pro Rel. And the fact that you're missing the bump of the World Cup by not having that structure in place to even start it. And even 2027. Now we're skipping an extra year and going to 2028. So we'll see how these expansion teams pan out in terms of when they start. As you know, MLS moved to a European calendar.
Here's my rule. I actually have like a rule.
Oh. Go for it.
If you declare you're going to play in a certain year and then you don't, then say you're going to play in 2027. If you back out and say, actually, we're not, you either need to go down to USL League 2 for a year, or you have to go 2 years without doing anything. Like, there should be a penalty. So, like, if you say you're going to play in 2027 and then you back out, you have to spend a year in USL League 2, or you have to go 2 years without playing. Because then it's like, all right, you need to get whatever ish together. You need to get your shit together, get it together. That's my proposal.
Brooklyn would have loved you.
Because then it will make teams say, okay, we're dead set. Like, once you say we're coming, we're coming. There's no backing out. There's no changing. If you do it, you have to take a penalty of something. You have to take a penalty, or you have to go and say, you know what, go in League Two, be semi-pro, figure out whatever you need to figure out.
Yeah, Brooklyn would have loved you because they didn't even want to go. They didn't even want to go to championship. They just wanted to sit there until they could go to whatever D1 Pro Rel is. So you would have been the favorite. Okay, so there wasn't really a lot of news. So I want to move on.
I try
to
my
the
best.
Hot seat. It's fine. Let's move on to the hot seat because there's been a little bit of movement, mostly by you, Kyle, because I really didn't have anybody, but you did. So let's talk about it. That's a really good question because I've seen the change. I've seen it announced. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so basically the question is thoughts on NCAA soccer changing the schedule and the impacts on USL League 2. I think it definitely makes it a little more complicated, both in a good and bad way, because a lot of USL League 2 teams rely on those college players playing during the summer. So I don't know if it's going to basically like so that there's less of the college players being able to come over. It was going to result in delays. We already see with like the Open Cup where there might be some teams that just add old players and others just because they need to do that change. So I think it will. I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to work, but I think it's going to make it a little more complicated for now. And I don't know the full details of like how it's going to work. And if it does, like obviously I'm not a League Two expert. I won't be able to like fully say, but I think it's just more of an interesting decision that's being mentioned. And I know, oh, perfect. So Ebony has the ability to highlight comments, but there is one that's mentioning that they haven't heard about how it's going to affect League Two yet. And this is our good friend, Devin, who works with the Annapolis Blues over in USL League Two. So he would definitely be more insightful. But yeah, I think it'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting how it works just because SEO League Two season doesn't technically overlap with it too much, but at the same time.
But fatigue is going to be a problem. I think it takes talent away.
But I think that's more of like.
Sorry. I do think that fatigue is going to be an issue, especially for some of these like not as well known teams that rely heavily. They're going to need.
I feel like it'd be more of an issue.
USL League One moving to a regional play once divisions come in might be the play to save League Two. That's fair. I'm more concerned that like they're gonna be playing longer stretches, so they're gonna at least want. There's gonna be seasons where you have really strong squads because they're looking to ramp up for the final. Like they're a freshman and they're like, okay, I need to develop this, so I'm gonna go to a League Two team and work through my sophomore and junior year, and then they're like, okay, I need a rest for my senior year. So you're gonna have these years where you're just like the quality of play is gonna go so up and down. I'm gonna be concerned that once they actually do finish school and they're getting looked at by like League One teams or even some of these like lower championship teams, they're either going to be really, really seasoned and know how to work a schedule, or they're going to be burnt out. And then they're going to be like, okay, I've seen my other teammates do it, and they were tired, or they ended their career early because they were just so over it, or something like that. So that'll absolutely affect play. So
yeah, I also wonder, obviously not just NCAA, but with the increase of academies as well, if you might see, and this might affect both NCAA and League Two, where maybe they decide I'm just going to go through the academy, and if they're academy kid, maybe they go on loan, like quote unquote on loan to a League Two side instead of playing in college, or vice versa. Maybe there's someone that looks and it's like, well, I'm not getting anywhere with this academy, or I'm not getting anywhere with League Two. Let me just focus on NCAA, and that way, if I play well enough, I can get drafted in the MLS. So I could see it going both ways.
Yeah, that's a fair shout too. I think I'm more looking at like when kids are like in high school, like you said, if they were choosing the college route or the academy route, you're looking for, you basically have two recruiters coming to you at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And which one's going to give you more money? Well, NIL right now is definitely giving you more money. So,
but how much is it going to be that much more?
Right.
Because we are still dealing with NC. Like, this is not like football or basketball where you can get paid millions. It's like, okay, you might get maybe like 100. Like, you can maybe get like 6 figures. Possibly.
Yeah. At that point, you might as well just go to work. Just saying.
Right.
Alrighty. Thank you. That was a really good question, and I appreciate it. That was a lot. I hadn't really looked into too much of it just because I'm like, okay, once they moved the calendar for like MLS, and then now they've moved the NCAA one, I was like, there's gonna be a hiccup somewhere. Didn't know where, and it sounds like we just found it. So yeah, thank you. Now for the hot seat, like I said, Kyle, you had some coaches moving. If you don't remember last show, we had a new segment called Hot Seat, where we're placing your coach on the hot seat for the year. They can move up and down. It really all depends on how your team is doing for the month. So the biggest one we have was a lot of coaches were safe. It was the beginning of the season. We didn't really know what was going to happen. So the Kyle, let's start with your one that you moved to monitoring the situation.
So I moved Portland down to monitoring the situation. Over, not Portland. Sorry, I'm thinking, we'll get to Portland. Naples is the one I moved from safe to monitoring the situation. And that's only because they've been okay. But I feel like Portland was one of those teams last year that they started really, really strong. And they have this identity. They had this like stout defensive counterattacking team. And it worked, and they made the playoffs. They hosted the playoff game, and they were a team that maybe they weren't as good at the beginning of the season as they were at the end of the season as they were at the beginning, but you can see what they were doing. And then this year, it's kind of felt like they're not necessarily as defensively compact. They're more direct, which I think helps. And Chris Garcia has been a catalyst for that. But it doesn't feel like this Portland team is able to fully know their identity. And then you're coming off one game, which, I mean, you're playing Omaha on the road. You lose that, okay, that's like whatever. But then you come back the following week and get crushed by Charlotte at home. Like, it was 5-0 at one point. And Charlotte's playing really well, but anytime you're losing a match 5-0 at home, things don't feel as good. And it's like, yeah, they also beat Westchester, and that game was kind of like an uninspiring win. It wasn't like they were that great. Like, they were fine. So it's kind of like the results are starting to get a little dicey. I'm not saying all of a sudden he's going to be on the hot seat, but I think it is one of those where it's like, if Naples continues to just kind of trudge along, does the seat get warmer? Because I also don't know like what the expectations at Naples are fully. Like, they might be like, hey, we're in a good spot, or they might say like, it's fine. Maybe it's just like a blip. They also just lost to Sarasota in their USL group. as well. So it's kind of like I don't know. And the schedule doesn't get that much easier. They go to Charlotte, who they just lost to. They go to Chattanooga the following week. And then you got Portland, who I don't know what Portland you're going to get before the schedule gets a little bit easier with Cosmos. But then you're going to travel to Madison, and then you got Sarasota, Avialta, and Westchester in like August. So like August might be like the make or break time for them.
Okay. And then you also moved Portland.
Look, Corpus Christi was on track to be one of the worst ever teams in USL League One. I'm talking OCB, bad. I'm talking Westchester last year, bad. I'm talking Richmond, Ford, Madison for stretches of last year and the year before, Wooden Spoon race, bad. It's not good to lose to a team like that. You lost to Corpus Christi. You gave them their first win of the season. It is June, and they just won their first game of the season. And you lost on the most ridiculous ways. You had the game. You had the win.
But Zaya got his first win.
You allowed the equalizer via own goal in the most ridiculous way. And then 2 minutes later, you allow the game-winning goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, Portland was real full. They were feeling real confident and real good about their team going into the season. And you're going to sit here and lose to Corpus Christi, who had not won a game.
Look, man, sometimes you forget that you're supposed to leave the game with 3 points and you leave it with 0. That's just the reality of like where we are.
I mean, sure.
We just got
you lost to Corpus Christi.
Sometimes you forget that you play to the whistle. That's just the sport. And we're about to see some crazy soccer over the next 4 weeks. I'm talking about the Prinks Cup. What the fuck is the World Cup? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We're about to see some really funny soccer from the World Cup in the next 4 weeks. And it still won't get you the same high as watching Corpus Christi win 3-2. Okay?
You had the win in the bag and you lost. You were up 2-1 with like in the 95th minute and you lose? Not even draw, you lost.
I mean, if we're going there already, well, no, because we gotta do our tiers update first. But you're foreshadowing one of my games. So we're gonna move forward.
Portland, for a team that was feeling very full of themselves at the beginning of the season, I don't think they would be happy with sitting outside a playoff spot.
You know, you mentioned playoff spots, and that is a great
look at that transition. Look
into
at that.
Our tiers update.
Gave you the lob.
I appreciate you. So if you were here last time, you would know Yogi made a new system for us. There's 4 categories: pushing for a title, fighting for a playoff spot, just outside the playoffs, and you might as well go ahead and prep for 2027. We had already tiered them up from May. So to give you a recap, pushing for a title is Charlotte, Omaha, Spokane, One Knox, and Boise. That was a Yogi. Fighting for a playoff spot, we have Red Wolves, Kickers, Madison, Fort Wayne, and Naples. Just outside the playoffs, we had Avialta, Sarasota, Cosmos, Westchester, and Portland. And then go ahead and prep for 2027. We had Corpus Christi and Greenville Triumph. So the only thing we're going to go through today is if there was any movement for you within those categories. I had a few. And I see that you added one as well.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the additions to prepping for 2027. The state of New York, Cosmos and Westchester, hang them up. Okay. Go ahead and sign them academy players. Let them get some minutes. Let them fight. Let them do whatever you got to do. Just let them run around for 90 minutes so that they earn a check. And then you prep for 2027 because 2026 won't for you. I know we said it's a hot girl summer, and you did not get that memo.
You cannot be bottom of the table and still be in those just outside playoff.
Sure you can.
No.
Come on.
If we're putting Greenville and Corpus Christi, we have to put the two teams below them.
And this is also me saying that we're leaving Corpus Christi and Triumph in prepping for 2027.
Yeah.
You keep doing that, okay? You opened up a new stadium, Greenville. You build on that, and you stay there, and you think about what you've done.
New stadium bounce really was a thing. That new stadium bounce. You know how they say new manager bounce? That new stadium bounce clearly made a difference because that was their first win in like a month.
Exactly. You stay there, and I will applaud you for opening their stadium the way you did. But 2027 and beyond, that's all you. Yep. Okay. And then Cosmos came into the season with a lot of expectations, and they're just not meeting them right now. And I have no choice but to say it's time to look forward. So yeah,
you better just start making the games affordable, get people to come back, maybe see if there's some players you can potentially sell to a championship team. Hope for the best.
I did see that you signed that player. He looked. I am not giving up on you. So I believe in you, and I believe in what you can do. I want to see it more consistently, which is a weird thing to say, especially in this league that has like teams that have played 8 games and teams that have played 12. So
classic League One.
So yeah, I'm not gonna be too down on what you're doing up there, but I feel like once we get to August, we'll know for sure.
Yeah.
And then another team that I personally moved to just outside the playoffs is Naples, which is weird to say as well because but they've lost some wild games here recently, and I'm like, yo, is this what were we bamboozled in the beginning? Because I'm concerned. You looked promising, and then you just weren't, and I was like, ooh, maybe not. Let's figure out where we're going from here. Right now you're on the outside looking in, and
yeah.
And to be all fair, I probably could have moved the Kickers over to just outside the playoffs. So
the Kickers are just a weird one because sure, they get beat down 5-0 against Chattanooga, but then they draw Boise. And I don't know what to think of Richmond. I feel like this next month will help them because they got Boise again. Then they got Corpus Christi on the road, Fort Wayne, Portland, Sarasota. That's a lot of winnable games, or at least games that you can get points in.
And that is fair. But again, this was a team where I had them as my chaos last month. Because they were all over. So they were walking into places and just like doing whatever. They were all over the place, but they were smashing and grabbing results, which is what we were thinking that they were going to continue to do, and then they just didn't. So now we truly still don't know what Richmond is about. And I would love to see some type of consistency at some point. Smash and grab can't be the consistency because that gets tiring.
I was gonna say, I feel like in a month we'll probably, if they don't improve, then they'll be moved to outside the playoff.
Yeah. And then you also moved the team. What team was that?
I moved Boise out of pushing for a title to fighting for a playoff spot.
Okay.
Because I felt like when I think of like teams pushing for a title, I'm thinking like, okay, these are like the best teams in the league. And I'm not putting Boise there. And I think the last month has kind of shown where it's like you're losing, like drawing 2-2 to Richmond, losing to Sarasota at home, losing to Fort Wayne at home. And like those are kind of games where you just don't, if you're pushing for a title, you can't really be losing those games. Those are games you got to win.
Okay, so but you put them in fighting for a playoff spot instead of just outside the playoffs. Was that too drastic of a drop?
Well, no, I wasn't going to put them in just outside the playoffs. That would have felt extreme because they're still a talented team, and I feel like fighting for a playoff spot makes sense. I just don't think they're a team that I would put in a pushing for a title.
I could see the argument for dropping them that drastically down to just outside the playoffs, just because they are, just because of how it was a big skid for the year. Ooh. Some grumbling from Boise supporters with the total football method from head coach Miller. Which is,
I mean, yeah, but that's why you bring him in.
Right.
That was the risk.
Like, I don't know if I agree with the Boise fans on that one. Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if it is that kind of approach and you're not doing well, but Nate Miller has shown this whole time it can get results. We saw it with Lansing, and they had finished second, I believe, in the league in 2019. And then he did well with San Diego, and he got consistent results. So I don't know why you would expect it to be different.
Yeah, especially because it's his method and it works for him. And you're still in the playoffs, like in a playoff position right now with that method. So
I think I think there's people that had too high of hopes for Boise because of the names that were brought in. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talented players that came in.
There are.
But it felt like we were doing what we did with Spokane, what we did with Lexington. We're already like putting them in a discussion that probably was a little high.
I mean, I feel like
I think they are going to be a playoff team. I feel confident that Boise will be a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to be in that like home playoff, like top 4 home playoff team tier.
Okay.
Like I feel like they're kind of in this like not AVL, like Fort Wayne, Madison, like I feel like they're kind of in that Fort Wayne, Madison tier of like we expect them to be a playoff team, but maybe it will take a run. It would take like a lot for them to jump into that top 4 discussion.
I mean, it would help if they caught up on games.
That too. But also, I mean, you look at, they've played the same amount of games as like Knoxville, and they're already 6 points off.
Yeah.
And like they're played one less game than Spokane and Charlotte, and they're 5 points off.
I mean, they're on Spokane and Charlotte went on that like crazy run though.
True. But I'm just saying, like, but it's like those are the kind of levels for like pushing for a title. And you're not near that. That can change in a month, but when you're pretty much hovering around the Fort Wayne, AVL to Madison in terms of points, and they've all played less matches than you, then it's kind of like, okay, maybe fighting for a title is a little high.
Okay. I can rock with that. Now, we've got our games of the month. So this is the game where you will be like, look, if you want to know what League 2 is about, this is the one you should watch from the last month, from our last show. We have very similar score lines.
We have the same score line.
I'll go first because this one just happened. We touched on it earlier. Corpus Christi 3, Portland 2. Congrats, Iman, on your first win. You and that sweater you've done. It's been hilarious, and I love it. Oh, God. Kyle, I didn't even notice that until now.
Absolutely.
Slightly off-screen Henny Derby trophy. being in the shot. Oh, now he's gonna move the camera to make sure it's fully in the shot. Because why not?
Because I can.
Of course you can.
I have it. I can do that.
Sir, what was your game of the month? Jake came in here to start shit.
I had Chattanooga against Charlotte with the final score of 3-2 because that game was ridiculous. There was a goal in 22 seconds. 22 seconds into the game, and there was a goal. There were 4 goals scored in the first half.
Look,
it was
man,
ridiculous.
I keep saying, oh, I didn't see yours, Devin. I forgot. Well, remember when you insulted me by telling me Charlotte was in my neck of the woods? I ignored your comment. Okay. I mean, it was a good question though. Charlotte, I keep saying they're just going to score. We're not going to test them on defense. And then they finally got it. Yep. And here we go, 3-2.
It was in the manner of the first goal. It's like every pass would like ricochet off a player and it would just fall to a Charlotte player. And then they do a pass. And then that pass would ricochet off of someone, fall to a Charlotte player. And then the Charlotte player is just able to like walk in, take a shot and score far post. It was like, I just sat down. What do you mean there's a goal?
Their stadium didn't even have all 30 people in it yet, and then they scored. So, look, this is what you get when you watch a Charlotte match. A lot of goals. Okay,
it forced Chattanooga to actually try and score. Like they weren't just trying to slide tackle you; they actually had to play football. I mean, that's what this game evolved to.
I don't even think that's fair because Charlotte makes everybody do that.
But still, I'm just saying.
Charlotte, does Charlotte actually have a defender on their roster? It is goalkeeper and Insula. Okay, there's no freaking way
because their defenders are wingers.
What are you doing?
Like that Ford Madison match against Charlotte, I was like, their fullback is further up the pitch than their winger.
That being said, they're my vibes team of the month because
it's there.
They're on this run and you don't know what the score line is going to be. You know that Charlotte's going to score some goals, whether it's in bunches. They like to score in bunches, and there's always like this one weird period of just like, you're just like, it's insane. They have been flying. And then to finish the month with a 5-1 win, like 15 points from 15 out of 15. Crazy.
And I mean, it's not like they were just beating up bad teams. Like, yeah, they had one against Corpus Christi, but it was like they went into Chattanooga and won. They faced a Madison team that can beat anybody. And kind of ran away with that game. They beat Boise. Like they've beaten like solid teams as well. It's not as though they've just been beating up on Corpus Christi, Westchester, and Cosmos in 3 of those wins. It's like those wins were against teams that most of them, except Corpus Christi, would likely make the playoffs or at least fighting for a playoff spot.
Correct. And I don't know how they're doing it quietly. It's not anymore though, because 5-1, everybody kind of
that's not quiet.
Right, that's not quiet. But they've literally been flying on the radar. I don't know how. They're in 3rd.
They're the highest goal differential.
They're beating Omaha for that.
Yeah. Winning a game 5-1 helps with that goal differential.
It does. Yes, it does. But still, you got to give them that props. And so they were my vibes team of the month. The sky is not falling. I am giving props to a Charlotte team. But they earned it. And yeah. Kyle.
I went with boring. I went with Omaha.
I mean, that's not boring. They've also been just like flying. Like
it's like they're winning. It's not pretty. Like they haven't really been like winning in a way that you would expect Omaha too. It's like they're gritty wins.
Yeah.
But they still have been able to go, and within the last month, they've lost like what? One game to Louisville City,
in all of May, they lost one game, and that was to Louisville. And that is the only game where they did not score 2 or more goals for the month of May.
Yeah.
Because they tied Portland, but that was still 2 goals.
That it was still 2-2, and that was one where they had to scrape, and they scraped by getting that one. Like, Omaha is just finding ways to get the results that they need to, which is what you expect out of a team that's competing for a title.
Correct.
And it looks like they're going to do it again.
Yeah, they're I can't even fault them. They're doing it really well. You mean you don't only have 2 losses on the season if you weren't doing it well. Top of the league, 28 points. Next closest one is Knoxville at 21. You're doing something right.
And I mean, the 2 league games that they lost, one was a random one against Richmond, which we still don't understand, and the other was the first game of the season at Spokane.
Right. Yep. So, I mean, shout out to them. They've truly made a name for League One, and not only in the Prinks Cup, just they're making a splash, and it's really, really fun to watch right now. So, shout out to them. But with chaos, with vibes comes chaos. And let's start with you. Let's start with your chaos team of the month.
Look, this team, no matter what happens, there will be a goal in their match. They might not win. They might allow 5 goals. But there will be a goal, and that is the New York Cosmos. Because why defend?
Defending? Never heard of her. Is she new?
Whether they choose not to defend, whether they're trying to defend and fail, all I know is you're going to get a goal in the match with the Cosmos. They have yet to have a scoreless draw.
Defense? Question mark? We're just gonna pass no, yes or no. Okay.
Cosmos have only failed to score in 1 game.
I mean, when you know. Okay.
I'm just saying, are they a good team? Absolutely not. Will you be entertained when you watch them? Absolutely.
And on the same note, my chaos team is Corpus Christi, because they leaving with something. It wasn't a win until recently, but they were going to score or they were going to fight you for it. So guess what? We here.
You know what? When your head coach and your star striker are apparently beefing, shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it go. You gotta let it all work out, But they got 2 games against Birmingham next. Those 2 games alone might make them my chaos team for July, for June too. Okay, look,
oh god.
When we meet back here, I might be saying the same thing. They leaving with something. Because Birmingham is also not a good squad. But they're in
probably not. I will say there's a team that I'm wanting to be upset. I'm upset with them. Avialta, I need you to decide. I need to go back to what you were.
No, because that hurt too.
But you know what? At least don't give me this nonsense 0-0 draw like it did a couple weeks ago, where you didn't even have a shot on target. Don't give me that. That's not what I come to watch.
That's not what we're here for.
What are you doing? That's not who you are.
Was this the Fort Wayne?
That's not who you are. Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, they had a red card. No shot on target. Immediately after halftime, it was a red card.
When has that ever stopped them? That has never stopped them in their life.
I mean, they're trying. It's new year, new them. They said it's a hot girl summer.
No. I'm not accepting it. Absolutely not.
They said, in the words of Meg Thee Stallion, it's a hot girl summer. Okay, they gonna try something new, and they'll be right back. They will be right back. Marriage is off the table, but they gonna be right back.
God damn it. End the show.
Thank you for letting me lead the show. We did it. Okay, we did it. We made it. Kyle, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
Happy Pride Month. So if your team is not doing a Pride night, call them out.
Go fight them. Go fight your whole front office.
Because if they can do World Cup watch parties, they can do a Pride night.
And if they're not doing something for Juneteenth, kick them in the shins and then yell reparations. And then they owe you $50 and a jersey. And you can tell them I said it.
If you can do a World Cup watch party, but you can't do something for Juneteenth, you got to fight them.
We got to fight. Just go in there. You get 3 haymakers and you get 6 minutes of them not fighting back. Okay. Just go do good work. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah. We're just trying to make it's not hard to do. It's not hard to have a Pride and Juneteenth night. Okay.
It's not. And
you
if
can
they
do
can
both.
celebrate,
and you can do both.
You can't. And I don't want to see them together.
No,
I will have to come blow up your stadium.
That's what I was saying. You can do both, just not at the same night.
Right. Apparently, you can. This is the problem. If they can move Pride nights to August and November and March, you can do it. You can celebrate Black people.
If you can take a break for the World Cup, you can have a friendly, at least for Pride Month.
Okay, do something, damn it. We always end these shows so chaotic. It's a mess. For Kyle, I'm Ebony. And for Yogi, you all have a wonderful night. Support your local journalists. Support your local team. Fuck this World Cup. Etc. etc. Whoop-de whoop-de whoop. Doody dooby boop. And
I'm gonna watch it.
I mean, I'm still gonna watch, but shut up, Kyle. Shit. Still,
like I'm still
we
watching.
all got a
like,
little bit of toxic. We all
like I'm still gonna sit at my
toxic
desk on Friday with the game on.
Kyle, God damn it, get off. Goodbye.
Gotta do it.